Radio, episode 9.
Almost in the double digits.
Yeah, we're oh my god, we're so close. And today we're joined by somebody who's pretty special, doing things that not a lot of people do anymore in the Halo community. Why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Boomerang. I am the writer and director of a Halo fan series called Crash, which is also constantly compared to Red versus Blue. I guess that's a fair comparison, right? Like, it has a lot in common with Red versus Blue.
Yeah.
And that's that's the closest analog. Although I will say there are people who are fans of it who point out its similarities to The Elite World and Freeman's Mind, and I love those people because I love those shows. And if anybody can catch the references that we hide in the show, you're instantly like 5+ positive points in my book, because it's like, if you're a fan of those, big fan of you.
And you've gone out of your way to even get a very special somebody, the voice of Gordon Freeman himself, the only voice actor for Gordon Freeman.
The only one I'll accept, that's for sure.
Yeah.
If the rumors are true about Half-Life 3, I'm like, please, Gabe, just get Ross to like be the voice of Gordon Freeman. Like, Lord knows he's earned it. You know, he's stuck with this character for like nearly 20 years, basically. So, like, just let him have it. That'd be so funny. It'd be funny even if it was just an Easter egg.
It's probably like we start with, first off, Gabe, please don't make Gordon speak. And if he does speak, it has to be fair. Ross.
Yeah, don't let him speak, but keep an Easter egg where if like you meet certain conditions, you just hear Ross starting to scream about things for a little bit.
If you cannot help yourself, if you have to make Gordon speak.
Look, Gabe, we know you're listening. All right. Okay. I know you're.
We've all given you enough money, Gabe. Just give us this one, please.
But yeah, thanks for having me. It's a real honor. Late Night Gaming, I have watched your content for quite a long time, so it's quite surreal to be able to be here and chatting with you. So thanks for having me.
Wow, now I'm the one who's honored. Crash is a special interest of mine. And so it's actually pretty awesome to talk to you because, like, usually machinimas, they do the standard thing where you're just, like, using the theater mode or whatever to record things. But with Crash, you guys are actually, like, kind of, you're modding the engine in ways that I don't think I've seen other people do. Like, your depth of field, your cinematic depth of field effects are not done via editing, right? You actually mod those in.
Yeah, so the newest episode of Crash, which just came out, episode 8, we were using in-engine depth of field effects, which were super cool to work with. Shout out to Gold Athena, who is the mod wizard for for our like whole production right now. Yeah, we don't even make Crash in MCC anymore. We're actually using the Halo 3 dev kit now, and that's
oh my God.
Episode 8 was shot entirely in the Halo 3 development kit. And
wow.
which, by the way, theater mode does not work in that, so we actually record it live.
I thought that you guys were just, like, doing, like, your cinematic effects and everything via editing, but then you posted on Twitter that it was all in engine. I was like, okay, wow, I can see now why the episodes sometimes take a little while to come out.
Yeah, because even the animations are all in-game cutscenes, animated in Blender or Maya, ported into the engine, and then so we make use of the actual engine lighting, so it's basically like a Halo 3 cutscene playing out. And so, yeah, I mean, we've been doing... I'm trying to think. Episode 8 might have very little in it that is done in post. Like, a few things maybe, but, like, 95, maybe even more % of it is done all in shot. So, early on in Crash, we did a lot more editing, but, like, editing tricks and things like that. But as we've been dabbling with mods, we've just been able to do more and more and more, and it's been super, super cool.
I guess, was Crash like a thing that you guys started like as like, hey, let's make a funny machinima, kind of like a throwback to the golden years of Halo machinima? Or was it more like, we really want to mod? We want to get this Halo engine to do stuff?
Well, it's funny. So Crash actually has its roots in around the golden age of machinima, because I originally had the idea for the show around 2009 to 2011. I was even going onto the Rooster Teeth's old, their new website, which has the original things, and I see posts that I made on Rooster Teeth's website about me writing episodes of Crash from 16 years ago. And then I dropped that. And then back in like 2019, for fun, I sat down and I was like, what was it? I drank too much. I think it was Maker's Mark, or it was Knob Creek whiskey. I was in Florida, and I drank like half a bottle by myself. And then I was like, what's a great idea right now? If I sit down and write that old Machinima series I wanted to do. And then I wrote a lot of it. And then like 4 years later, I actually had like friends that I could chat with and work on the show with. So I did a pass on the show like that. It didn't work. A bunch of stuff went down. Nothing huge, but it just didn't work out. And then in 2023, I decided to give it one more chance. And then I released episode 1, and then it took off. And I think it's now at like 250,000. It's approaching that views, which was out of nowhere because it's the first real video project I ever worked on seriously. And so we just released that episode, and we didn't expect it to ever happen. But to answer your question more specifically, sorry, I was giving you a whole backstory there, but
backstory's good.
No, well, so Crash started with the first 4 episodes of Crash are just me on my Xbox with multiple controllers. I do all the body acting by myself. It wasn't until episode 5 that we brought mods in. So it really was just I wanted to kind of reignite this old flame of making a Machinima. It was kind of just like I was back and ready to go deeper, at this childhood interest of mine. And I was like, I'm going to really put some effort into this because this was like a childhood dream of mine. And then started working on it. And then it just kind of took off from there. I got voice actors, and none of the voice actors and people associated with the show, with very few exceptions, actually knew me before we started working on Crash together. I just brought them in from casting call and then networking through people who knew about the show. So like, it was funny. Athena, our mod, our mod wizard, I met her because we were working on a video for Easy Does It Radio, which is like the long form radio broadcast things we do that are really fun. And I wanted a nighttime version of Standoff, and one of my friends found one, and I messaged Athena being like, hey, I'm working on a video. Do you mind if I use this? And Athena was like, I had to double check and see if that was the real you. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, okay, well, and then we got to chatting, and then she's been working on mods for us ever since. And then each episode we've been doing more and more with it ever since then. So we definitely, I thought about doing mods. I was like, we can probably do some stuff with mods. And off of a hunch, I actually included a few references in episode 1 and episode 2 to things I would have liked to have done with mods. And I was like, well, I'll burn that bridge when I get to it. And then luckily enough, it worked out. And so we were able to bring those things to fruition. Like in episode 2, long before we ever messed with mods, I make mention of the Uplift Reserve being reopened. And then in episode 7, they actually go to that location. And so it all kind of came together in a really weird way.
Yeah, I guess that's the other thing about Crash, is that the production value is exceptionally high in terms of like what you guys are able to achieve. And the fact that it took off as well as it did so quickly, I think almost seemed to indicate that there was like almost like a gap in terms of like that sort of style of machinima that people were after. I know that you mentioned that like you'd had this idea since, ages ago, years and years, but in terms of the story, has it been something that you've like planned long term into the future, or has it kind of evolved more organically over time as you've done more episodes and added to it?
The answer to that question is yes. It's kind of both, honestly. It's we have a definitive beginning, middle, and end for the show. I would say we have solid 3 seasons planned right now. The first 2 seasons are really well set, and then what happens in season 3 is a little bit more up in the air right now, because we're trying to get a little further along to figure out how we want to get there. But the very ending of the show for this saga is already planned, and I wouldn't say super set in stone. We might change a few things up, but we have a goal that we're moving to the end of, if that makes sense, So we're about halfway through season 1 right now, which only took us 2 years. So, well, stay tuned for the Crash series finale in 2052. I'll be glad to get that.
Well, look, it's always worth the wait. It's always worth the wait. Like, whenever I see one of those pop up in my subscription feed, I'm like, all right, I need to set out some time, sit down. It Crash is one of those videos, like whenever each new episode releases, where I will sit down in my living room and watch it on TV as if I'm watching a new episode of a TV show or something. Like that means a lot. I go out of my time, and I really enjoy it. So I go out of my day to like sit down and dedicate some time to do it and stuff. And because it's like I kind of grew up in that era of Red versus Blue was quite popular at the time, and they were doing the trilogy on Halo 3 with the reconstruction and so on. And so I've been sharing it with my friends as well, and they really love it. Like, it tickles that little sort of itch of nostalgia for them. And subsequently, some of them have gotten back into playing like Halo 3 on the MCC as well. So it's you're doing the Lord's work. We love it.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, I've had a lot of people who are fans of the show who have never played Halo before, and they actually said they got into Halo through Crash, and that was super cool to hear. Because I'm like, I love this franchise so much. And then
that really is like Red versus Blue all over again. Because Red versus Blue was even watched by people who didn't care about Halo.
Yeah, that's been super. It's been super surreal, honestly. I mean, also just being able to get and collaborate with a few people from Rooster Teeth on the show has been really cool. Because we got Chris Dyke, or Chris of the Dead, as he goes by, and he was an animator on Red versus Blue, the first two of the Course trilogy, and he worked with Monty on that. And he's doing the animation for us in Crash now. And we've also had a few cameos from Rooster Teeth people now. I think we've had, let me think, three cameos, because we had Miles Luna, Jeff Ramsey, and Shannon McCormick as cameos now so far. And, maybe some more on the way, who knows. But we also got music by Trocadero, the guys who did the music for Red vs. Blue. They did an original track that was in episode 7. So it's been
crazy how you managed to it's crazy how you've been like able to get those people to come together to do this kind of stuff, because it's like I'd imagine it'd be quite challenging almost to sort of reach out to these people who have inspired you in many ways and go like, hey, do you reckon you could do a little something for our show? Like it's a big achievement. So yeah, it's awesome. Must be very proud of it.
This is what I'm definitely very proud and very, very, very grateful, because I feel like the only difference between me and all the other people who work so hard on the mission was just I got lucky. Like the algorithm decided to pick up our first episode, and we've been able to kind of just grow from there really naturally. I mean, I'm still geeking that I got late night gaming of all people on episode 8. You
had Jeff Ramsey.
Okay, yeah, but he was in a side video. He was in Easy Desert Radio.
Flattery can only get you so far. You're putting me above Jeff Ramsey, dude.
Well, I mean, okay, well, all right. Okay, do you want me to? Okay, I can be insulting. I'll be insulting now. Late night gaming, more like lame night gaming. Am I right, fellas?
You shared on Twitter a couple of like kind of annoying negative comments, like people who are just lazily dismissive of everything you guys are doing and putting together.
Funny. Those comments make me laugh really hard. That's why I shared them, because I was having a good chuckle at them.
Have like the ringing endorsement of so many legacy people, like not just from within like Red versus Blue and Halo Machinima stuff, but going all the way over to like, Ross, the definitive voice of Gordon Freeman.
Yes. Ross is like a childhood hero of mine, and so having him on the channel, he's been on 3 different videos, and turns out we're from the same hometown. I didn't know that. So like when I was watching his videos, he was working a job that was less than like 2 miles away from me when I was a kid watching his videos, and that was so weird to figure out and talk with him about. And so no, dude, it's been crazy. There's some, I can't even talk about all the connections right now because they haven't come to fruition fully, but like there's okay, I can talk about this one. This is a little podcast exclusive. So this isn't really a collaboration. Like this, nothing's coming of this, but I just wanted to mention a weird connection that we turned out to have very, very coincidentally. So in the show Crash, in the Far Side Files, which is like the audio logs attached to it, the director of Project Farside is a character named Forsyth, Director Forsyth, or Dr. Forsyth, and he is played by Paul Morgan Stetler, who is, some may know from his role as Curtis Craig from Phantasmagoria 2, which is an old like mid-90s adventure game, like FMV adventure game. And so he plays the director of this, this group called Project Farside, and he's like this brilliant scientist character. It turns out that Paul Morgan Stetler is very close, dear friends with Jen Taylor, and I didn't know that. And they've acted together like a bunch of times. And so,
wow.
Yeah, I know, right? And so, like, that's been super funny because
Small world.
Forsyth's character is a contemporary with Dr. Halsey, and they're a bit of rivals. And then I had no idea when I got him, because I just got him because Ross reviewed Phantasmagoria. And I was watching that review, and I was like, yeah, this guy's a good fit. This guy would be hypothetically a good fit for Forsyth. I can really see him being that character. And then I looked, and he had his own YouTube channel, and I reached out to him, and then he agreed, and it just super small world. And I've shared that with the people on our Patreon Discord, so it's kind of public that connection exists. And I mean, if you go to Paul's thing, he's had Jen on his podcast several times, even recently. So it's like, it's not like a huge deal, but it's just a small world. Really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 degrees of separation or whatever it is that they say. But yeah, that's crazy how close of a connection that is.
Yeah, especially just because, like, I make a joke that if we make, like, memoirs about Crash being successful, it'd be stumbling ass first into success. Because that's just been that's been the whole process. It's just us kind of blindly stumbling through the dark and then just accidentally falling into really advantageous situations constantly. Like, I can't even take credit. It's just fucking weird. It's just crazy. We have no idea what we're doing.
If you could pitch Crash, because like some people who listen, you know, maybe they don't know what we're talking about and stuff. We're making allusions to things like in-engine depth of field, Crash, Machinima, and stuff. Do you want to pitch basically what Crash is?
Sure. So I can give you like a bit of a summary. So Crash is a dramatic comedy web series. It's a fan production set in Halo, the Halo universe, after the events of Halo 3. It takes inspiration from other shows like Red vs. Blue or Freeman's Mind or The Elite World. The show is animated using Halo 3, and even, like I said earlier, makes extensive use of the game's development tools to help create cinematics and make it very immersive. And it has this sort of very heartfelt sort of storyline with a strange unfolding mystery. It has a lot of themes about legacy, trauma, healing, moving on, that sort of thing. And then beyond the main episodes, which people seem to like a lot, which I'm very grateful for, we also have things like audio dramas and minor ARG elements to help in world building. So that's kind of the project summary. And I could also give like a plot summary, because it's like I try to keep those two separate, because it's like, what is Crash, and then what is Crash about? You know what I mean? So, yeah. I mean, well,
give us the what is Crash about now.
I could just try to memorize, say what I remember from the plot summary that's in the description. So it's like, following the close of a galaxy-spanning war, the members of Fixer, a slapdash special forces team, are no longer needed. Washed up and no longer having a purpose, they now find themselves sent on useless mission after useless mission. They pass their time by complaining and doing whatever they can to stave off boredom. However, in this newest assignment, they slowly and unwittingly begin to uncover a strange mystery. Each member will be tested, whether by the sheer monotony of and boredom of military life, or else by the unfathomable dangers lurking just beneath.
What is it that you think makes, like, Machinimas in Halo really compelling for storytelling stuff? Because people have tried to do Machinimas in, like, other franchises. Like, God knows there's been so many attempts with, like, Call of Duty. There have even been, like, some attempts in, like, Quake and stuff, but none of them have stuck like Halo. And what's even weirder is, even within Halo, the only one that seems to stick is Halo 3.
All right, well, I have some thoughts. I'm feeling I'm going to be, like, you know, rambling a bit about it.
Let's go.
My big conspiracy. Well, not really. Okay, so I think that Halo's design language as being something that is, which I feel like you've probably talked about on your channel before. Like, Halo, especially the original Halos, had like a very elegant, simplistic design language for its like art style, and so which made it very visually striking and iconic just at a glance. And it's also very colorful and very vibrant at the same time, so it was like a very interesting visual blend. Whereas if you get to the later 2000s, early 2010s, Machinima stuff is always kind of set in the piss filter era. You know what I'm talking about? And so there's not much to make the games look visually distinct. I mean, we had some ideas for some other Machinima and things like that. And I just think that also Halo was ubiquitous. The theater tools and things like that made it so much easier to film. And like, you already had the established popularity of Red vs. Blue, which was like such a global hit that like people knew about it. And so I just made it a naturally very magnetic sort of like place to be for Machinima. And Halo 3, I think, is just because it's the best Halo, if I'm being honest. Like, you know, fight me.
Hell yeah.
What are you doing having a favorite Halo? Get out of here.
They can't know what my favorite Halo is. I'm going to lose my Halo community street cred. But no, so yeah, I think that Halo 3 just, it's the best blend of vibrancy, colors, iconic designs. I think Halo Reach looks good, but it is a little visually busy compared to the other ones. And so Most of the time, the only time that people make Halo Reach Machinima, I have a joke with my friends where when somebody says a Halo Reach Machinima, you always think of something that's like over dramatic. Because it's like,
Oh, yeah.
it's all. I'm sure you guys probably remember, like when people were making Halo Reach Machinimas, it's like the Machinima community turned to making very dark, dramatic, gritty stuff because Halo Reach was dark, dramatic, gritty Halo, and that was just kind of that was just the tides at the time. You know what I mean? And so like, Halo 3 kind of still stands up and looks pretty decent, and it's a bit more cartoony, just slightly. It's more like fluid and expressive, and so I think that helps. It's a little less uncanny, you know what I mean? Like if you look at even like the animations in Halo 3 ODST or in Halo 3, the characters move with this slightly exaggerated fluid motion, but it's not too much. It's like fluid realism or expressive realism, and I think that makes it feel larger than life. And I feel like it's a bunch of little things that kind of add together to make Halo 3 and ODST, that era of the universe, feel a lot more compelling visually speaking, and a lot more consistent, I suppose.
It's interesting that you say that. I remember back when Red versus Blue started doing stuff in Halo Reach, because that game had come out, and I remember not liking it as much. I remember kind of being distracted by the giant knives on every Spartan's shoulder and kind of like the desaturated color palette. And not like Reach is a beautiful game, just like you said, but it's got I think like what makes Halo 3 really easy to film in and do like a variety of different bits. You know, you can have some comedy, you can have some drama, serious stuff, action, is that Halo 3 is very just kind of like neutral.
Yeah.
I guess it looks like Halo 3 in a way that's hard to articulate, where Reach has a very specific aesthetic it's going for. It's not doing neutral. It has picked a lane, and that is like Halo, but gritty.
I make a joke. I made a joke. I forgot who I was. I was with somebody. I met somebody who was going to HCS, and we were talking about Halo Reach, and I said the problem with Halo Reach is it's Halo with Picatinny rails slapped on everything. Like it's tactical Halo, and that's not bad. Yeah. Tactical Halo is cool, but it's just not pure Halo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can't have like a bunch of guys like guarding a warehouse and having like an argument, you know, because it'll look like a war zone.
Yeah.
Just aesthetically.
Yeah, Halo 3 felt neutral is a good word to go with it. I hadn't thought of that, but neutral. Halo 3 has a very neutral sort of art style that I feel like it's. Well, I mean, to be honest, Halo Reach didn't have the same sort of emotional swings that Halo 3 and ODST and even Halo 2 did. Like, Halo Reach is kind of just dour all the way through, and that's not a knock against Halo Reach. It just means that the particular semantic range of the storytelling that they were going for was much more narrow and specific in Reach than it was in the other ones.
Yeah, it's not a criticism of Reach. They decided that was the direction they wanted to go in. Like Andrew and I, we've kind of like talked in the past, and I've told Andrew that in my opinion, the best Halo games are the ones that don't actually take themselves so seriously.
Yeah.
Like I think of like ODST, where you know you've got all sorts of like commentaries about ODST, and they're like, they will change you and stuff. I'm like, the game where like Buck fell out of his drop pod upside down and landed on his butt,
and they steal a pet squid. Like, what's going on there?
Yeah, and then the pet squid lit Johnson's lighter for him. Like that one.
Also, yeah, that's a good thing, like a good point. You're making such a great point because Halo 3 and ODST make me laugh, whereas Reach, I felt like it was inappropriate to laugh, and there weren't as many like jovial moments. And if you think about it, the circumstances in Halo 3 are existentially much worse for humanity than they were in Reach. Like, Reach is a bad hit, but like Earth is like the last thing, and then like, you know, it's the last stand, and people are joking around a lot more, and that in a weird way that feels a lot more like authentic. Like I remember,
it reminds me a lot of Half-Life 2. The tone of Half-Life 2.
Some people complain about the tone being all over the place in Half-Life 2, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like every military person I know, like has a kind of a fucked up sense of humor and can kind of detach themselves from the seriousness of the situation enough to laugh about it. And that's like a genuinely useful coping mechanism, you know? So like, I don't know, like if you can't laugh about it. I remember I was playing ODST recently and I was playing through the, what was it? the Uplift Reserve mission, funny enough. And I was playing as Dutch, and I ran over a grunt, and I hear Dutch say, "Whoops, didn't see you there." And like, like I don't know why, like it just made me fucking lose my mind because it was just so funny. Like the characters being able to crack jokes and things like that were really funny. Or like I was in the Ark in Halo 3, and I hopped in a Warthog, and an ODST ran up behind me and says, "Oh, let me shoot. I'm in a real bad mood." And like,
I guess the other. Oh, sorry. Go on. My bad.
I was just gonna say, I think that Halo 3 nailed that sort of Halo 3 and ODST because I kind of I consider them the same game. ODST is just an expansion pack for 3. Let's be honest. Like they forced it into a bigger space so they could fulfill the contract. But for all intents and purposes, Halo 3 ODST is just a part of Halo 3. It has Halo 3 right there in the name.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is that like with Halo 3 especially because it's right at the tail end of the war, right? You've got all these like Marine stuff and ODSTs and soldiers who have been around and seen the previous 27 years or whatever of it. So like they've just kind of grown accustomed to it. And I like to imagine that you've got, you know, characters like the Aussie Marine Chip Stubbo who are like so fucking done with it all that all they can do is joke about it and stuff. Like they've seen it all at this point. You know, there's no point in like, you know, trying to take it too seriously. So yeah, it's just funny to imagine them being like done with it.
They seem like the kind of people that you'd want to face the end of the world with.
Yes.
Like people who face it with a smile.
Yeah, dude, you go out, you turn out the lights with 2 middle fingers up to the world, hurling insults at the inevitable. And it's like, I don't know why, in a weird way, I'm like, that's relatable. Like, that's what I would be doing. Like, why not? Like, you can't, I don't know. In a certain way, you can't take it seriously after a certain point, you know what I mean? You just can't. Like, you just have to do what you can. And the Halo's whole tone is it's much more interesting when it has levity in it. Otherwise, it just kind of starts blurring into generic sci-fi military stuff.
Sometimes Master Chief teleports into a Covenant ship, and then the camera rotates to reveal that he has teleported in upside down. And Wile E. Coyote style, he then falls to the floor.
Gravity reasserts itself for some reason right after that. Yeah.
And then bonks his helmet to tell Cortana off. Like,
that's the thing, right? Like, I actually think the old Halo games, because of the levity, it actually made the seriousness, by contrast, have a bigger impact. Do you know what I mean? Like, when shit would get serious or sad, you actually felt it land a lot more. Whereas Reach, I just remember as a kid when I was playing Reach, my mood was down constantly, and it was just depressing. And I'm like, well, that's fine. That's what they were going for. But it's sort of the ups and downs of Halo that make it feel more interesting and it's more like a texture that you get to experience, and it's so unique to the universe. And so, like, I don't know, like, I think there were some really good emotionally resonant moments in Halo, and they are underlined by the fact that you can do both. It's not an either or, you know what I mean?
It also helps make the Covenant a lot more fun too.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people's complaints with the villains of recent Halo games, I think if all you have to do is look at the Covenant Prophets, the 3 of them, they're silly. They're very goofy. They are cartoonishly silly characters. And
Absolutely.
then like contrast that with the Didact, who is like a stick figure with a frowny face.
Who's voiced by Joshua Graham, though, right? Like that means he's automatically compelling because they got a good voice actor for him.
I love a humanoid character that glows red and just monologues.
With an angry face, and then he's
who frowns. Who frowns
walking, talking angry emoji.
Yeah. And then Cortana, who also became, a stick figure with a frowny face.
Say what you want about
Halo
blue Infinite.
Angry emoji.
I actually had a lot of fun with Infinite's campaign because they brought back. Not only did they bring back the Covenant speaking English, which they kind of lost a good bit in Halo Reach, because Reach didn't have any English speaking Covenant. And I know I didn't play very much for Halo 4 and 5, even less 5 than I did 4. But like Halo Infinite actually did some really funny jokes and with the way the Covenant interact, or the Banished, I should say. And I actually had fun with it. Like him or hate him, at least it seems like the Banished are having a good time. You know what I mean? Like, they look, they're having
fun. Escherum's a lot of fun.
He is a lot of fun. I love how he just sits there and he's just like pontificating about how awesome their showdown's gonna be, and it just feels like an old guy going through a midlife crisis, about to be like, yeah, this is it. it's gonna be a legendary fight. Like he's hyping himself up, and I think that's just fun. And I was like, man, where was this the last like 10 years of the franchise?
I mean, there are better ways. There are better ways, I think, to get out of a midlife crisis. Like, I think if Eshram just bought a Porsche, he'd be so much better off than trying to fight Master Chief. But more power to him, I suppose. He died doing what he loved.
Getting killed
just
by
being a giant monkey.
Yeah. Dude, fair enough. You know what? If you're going to go out anyway, right?
I will say this, though, about the topic of Covenant speaking English. I think there is value, there's comedic value in having certain species of Covenant not speak English. I think the jackals were funnier when they didn't speak English, when they were just like weird, aloof bird creatures, and you didn't know if they were thinking anything or thinking at all behind those blank, vacant eyes. And they're just picking fights with grunts, and it's like, what are they talking about? What are they chattering about?
I feel like you could have it both ways. I feel like it'd be fun if the higher ranking jackals could speak English, but the lower ranks couldn't. Like,
I'm not poo-pooing on the English-speaking jackals either, because they're funny as well.
They are funny.
Like in Halo 5, one of my favorite quotes for the jackals is if a grunt, I think it's the condition is if a suicide grunt is killed before he can actually take anybody out, a nearby jackal will just yell, "Good job, stupid!"
I was playing Halo Infinite Firefight, and I was on a turret in like a choke point, and I was shooting, and I hear an elite yell, "There's a turret up ahead!" And then I shot a grunt who went around the corner, and then I swear I heard the elite say, "See, this is what happens when you don't listen to me!" Which is like, that's like so good. Like, I could hear, there's an entire story behind that, and I love that.
God, there's an interaction that I captured for the evolution of the jackals. It was like a grunt who he did something like he did something like the, "Hey, you want to see how long I can hold my breath for?" You know, and just being annoying. And then the jackal is like talking about like stupid grunts. Like, I need to teach you all a lesson. He's like, you need to calm down and relax.
I think, you know what, if we do more grunt stuff in Crash, I need to get you on. That was a pretty good impression right there.
Dude, that wasn't even my best impression. I do a wicked good grunt.
That's good, because it's hard to find a good grunt voice.
They're easy. Like, you just gotta sound kind of like just a guy who's really hopped up on caffeine and really enthusiastic about something.
But there's a certain level of like gravel you need. Otherwise, you just sound too squeaky. Do you know what I mean?
There is a line, unfortunately, that a lot of people cross where they sound like Mickey Mouse, or they sound like they're trying to do a kid voice. And grunts are not children. Yeah. They are grown adults.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Don't do a kid
they're
voice.
grown. Yeah, they're not like juvenile and like, you know, like happy birthday. Like they are an adult hopped up on caffeine, and they're very excited about something.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. I'm very happy with the voices that we got for the Covenant species in episode 8. Like the elites we got, or oh man, all the voice actors did such a great job, in my opinion. Like we took a long time to find the right people, I think, and I think it paid off really well, because like I wanted it. There's a lot of people who auditioned for the role, and they were just doing like trying to copy the Halo 3 goofy elite voice, and I was like, that's fine. Yeah, and then which is fine, but like it's like people forget that like elites can sound something other than that. You know what I mean? Like, because we have, you know, we have the ship, we have Halfjaw, and we also have the Arbiter. And like elites can kind of sound a lot more refined and a lot more interesting than that, you know what I mean? And but like it's fair enough. It's kind of the same thing that people do with grunts, where people just do a kid voice, and then people do elites and they just do like that voice.
that was scarily accurate.
Yeah, you just pitch shift it down like 2 semitones, and then that's all you gotta do, and that's just the sort of like generic Halo 3 elite. They do sound pretty goofy though.
Yeah, I think the elites have a layer of Shakespearean-like quality to them in some respects. Like, especially when it comes to the cutscenes, there's almost like a differential between how they're depicted in the cutscenes, and then an
They're very
actual
noble.
gameplay where, where an actual gameplay they can be a little bit more silly and goofy, but yeah, when you're trying to deliver like proper dialogue, it's a bit hard to
Well,
to make it sound
I
compelling.
like the idea of the elites being like these very noble sort of like they have a lot of grandeur, you know what I mean? But then like they have to deal with grunts and jackals, which brings out a lot of frustration in them. Where they're like babysitting constantly, and you can hear them getting mad and frustrated that other people aren't taking it as seriously as they are, which makes them a lot more funny in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it, actually. Yeah, because I mean, when you think about the different species in the Covenant, there's not very many that, like, I think, maybe some of them are a couple of cans short of a six-pack, whereas the elites seem to be the only ones that are kind of all there for the most part.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
That's actually a great way to put it. Yeah, the Covenant's kind of operating with a couple of deficiencies
Yeah,
that seem to be biological for the most
There
part.
might be
'cause
some-
they're all like that.
there might be some lead in the water pipes at High Charity. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, you got one species that's like entirely mute, like the hunters. They just don't say anything. They just kind of grunt and stomp around.
Oh god, I miss the way that the hunters used to sound. Like Halo Infinite's hunters are terrifying sounding, don't get me wrong, but I miss the kind of just
Yeah, the reverberating sort of just like it sounds like their entire bodies are vocal cords and they're just like humming. I love it.
But they just sound
when
like
they-
they're silly monsters.
Yeah,
Well,
they do like that
they
uniform
do.
laugh.
Oh,
Oh,
the
yeah.
laugh. You're right. I love that. Man, Halo, it is interesting that of all of the like sci-fi franchises and gaming franchises, Halo has kept like such a core audience even amidst all of the controversy. You know what I mean? Like people still love Halo so much.
There's something happening, Andrew. I wanted to bring it up to you, and I've heard it. There's what's that quote from The Force Awakens? There's been an awakening. Have you felt it? Something's happening in the algorithm. I think a generation of kids are starting to get Halo pilled because I've been
Yes.
looking at my
Oh.
analytics, and I'm seeing there's a spike in young viewers. So I think there's been an awakening.
So the age of
so
24 to
back.
35-year-old male viewership is slowly like
No, you know what's going to
changing.
happen?
We're mixing it
It's
up.
The 25 to 34 year olds. We're going to be the ones in charge of Halo next, and then it's going to be a renaissance of Halo. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of like the lead up to Halo Infinite, where you had a lot of young kids like, okay, new Halo game's coming out, got to figure out what this is. Oh my god, the lore of Halo is really cool. I love the Halo universe. And I mean, they're doing their own thing now, but it seems like there's some kids getting Halo pilled. There's possibly a new Halo game on the horizon.
And we have entirely Fortnite to thank for it.
Yeah. Thank you, Fortnite. Thank you, Epic Games, for keeping Halo alive. I will say I've definitely seen that. It's very strange because I've chatted like we have a community Discord for Crash, and then there are a lot of people who watch Crash who weren't even alive when Halo 1 came out, which is kind of like scary to me. And I'm like, what? No, Halo 1's not that old. Like, what are you talking about? But oh gosh, I know that there are Crash fans who are younger than Halo 3, unfortunately, which makes me very sad because I'm like, I'm getting old. I'm getting very old. But
That's crazy. Like, imagine being born after Halo 3. Like, bro, you missed everything. You missed it all. Like, yeah, what are you doing here? It's done.
oh man, it's the golden age. It's like I just want a good Halo game so that way the new generation can experience the gaming golden age once more.
There's a generation that doesn't understand or has ever heard of Icon has Recon.
Dude, I think we're better off for that if I'm being completely honest. When I got no,
Well,
you know why?
the alternative is like Craig and like fuck 343.
That's fair. No, okay. Well, I have a personal stake in this because when I reactivated my Rooster Teeth account because I'm a part of their like the beta test for their new website, and when I reactivated it, I saw my old posts from like 15, 16, 17 years ago.
Oh,
And
right.
all of the posts I made were using that same like grammatical pattern. So I took screenshots of all of them for posterity and then deleted them off the face of the internet because I was like, I cannot let this be like, this is so embarrassing. I mean, I'm talking about it on a podcast now, right? Like oh dude, it was so embarrassing. Like I didn't keep any of that because I kept some of it from my own personal so I can kind of look back on it. Don't forget where you come from, that sort of thing. But like, dude, we should leave that era of the internet behind. That's not part
I'm
I
just
don't miss.
picturing you in like your floating hover chair. It's like, this is the true face of cringe. And it's, I can ask Recon with the hologram.
Oh man, no, you know what? I have
Pick your own arbiter on your old comments.
Yeah, dude, right? Dude, no, I have a conspiracy, which I think is that Bungie intentionally ruined Recon and Halo Reach to get back at all the people asking them for it in Halo 3. Because the Halo Reach Recon looks like the Halo 3 Recon that got put into like a what is it, a pneumatic press, like it's just squished ever so slightly.
Got boiled or something, and that's the end result.
Yeah, it's a very like bashful looking Recon. Like it's trying not to impose.
Yeah, dude, no, it's really. I made a post a while ago. It was you versus the girl the guy she tells you not to worry about, and it was like because the Halo 3 Recon is just so much more angular and a lot more imposing, and then the Halo Reach one looks like it's asking you to not take its lunch money. It's asking very politely for you to not.
That's a great way to put it.
And it's just like, dude, I was like, they haven't even brought back the Recon chest or shoulder pieces, which is more than enough for me to be like, okay, they want nothing to do with Recon anymore. I understand, but I'm still going to mourn because it's the best Halo armor.
See Unishek try saying all the Halo 3 helmets are now in Halo Infinite.
Dude, absolutely not.
That goofy, silly guy put
Dude.
the Halo Reach Recon helmet.
I saw what you're trying to do. Try to get away with it. Release the true Recon, Unishek. We all want it. And by we, it's anybody old enough to remember Recon and to have coveted it and to have begged for it back in like.
By we mean the entire retirement home.
No, exactly. Oh man. Look, all I'm saying is, look, Halo Studios, we know you're listening, so like, just put it in the next Halo game, and it'll call it even. I'll say, you know what? For the last 10 years, none of that happened. If you just give back Halo 3 Recon.
Yeah, we know Gaben is listening, and we know that Halo Studios are listening.
Yeah, they're gigantic fans.
Yeah, absolutely, big fans. Come on the podcast sometime. I know they'd love to have you.
What do you think? What do you think for the next Halo game? They should do in regards to like Machinima content creation tools and stuff.
Not have the game look bad for Machinima. I'm sorry. I don't want to shit on anybody who makes Halo Infinite Machinima, but
That's very vague.
There is something about Halo Infinite that just distinctly does not look good for Machinima in my mind. There's been people who've asked me, will you move Crash to Halo Infinite? I'm like, no. Because we have more functionality with the tools in Halo 3's dev kit now than we ever could in Halo Infinite. So, I mean, if they released Halo Infinite mod tools, maybe, but I just don't see that happening. But, not at least for a long time, but, like, the lighting engine looks a little rough. The art style is pretty good in Infinite, but the lighting engine looks a little rough. It all kind of looks kind of plasticky, if I'm being honest. And
really,
that's my opinion. That's like my very niche opinion. It's just Halo Infinite looks, when you look at it into like the fine detail, when you're staring at it in motion in gameplay, looks pretty good. But like, you kind of have to stare at it for a long time if you're watching a Machinima. And the way the characters stand, they kind of have this weird. I've made a post about it before, where like their backs are bent weird and their legs, they're in this weird super wide power stance, and so none of the characters look nearly as relaxed as they do in Halo 3.
Yeah, so, I get you. I'm looking at like some of my old stuff. I remade a puppy in Halo 3, but in Halo Infinite.
I remember that video.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing that definitely helps is just enabling the ray tracing, because then all the characters self-shadow.
Yeah, that's nice.
Which makes things look a little bit nicer. I wish that was kind of just like a thing that the game could do, like Halo 3.
Yeah.
did.
Trust me, man. We've been throwing ourselves against the wall of the lighting engine in Halo 3, which is weird because when Halo 3's lighting works, it looks phenomenal. But then trying to get it to work has like with real-time reflections and lightings, which you can do, is like pulling teeth though.
You know, something about Halo Infinite, looking at it, and this is something I've kind of solved, unfortunately, via like post-processing, and if I play, or not post-processing, like just in post-production for my videos, but also on the PC when I play Halo Infinite on PC, just good old reshade. Halo Infinite could like use some contrast.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're completely
I don't
right.
know why the contrast. It's doing the thing that a lot of modern movies also do, where black, like deep black, is actually like a light gray.
It's just washed
Yeah,
out.
I just got
and-
well. I got
Yeah.
I got an OLED TV recently, and I was really disappointed by how little I notice it on Halo Infinite. And now that you say that, it clicks. Where like the contrast is off, and they don't allow deep blacks to be deep blacks in Halo Infinite. So it all kind of feels a little washed out and a little flat.
It helps if you set the game's default brightness to like -25. And I know that sounds crazy, but your eyes adjust, and then the whites pop a little bit more. Some of the specularities, you notice them, a little bit more. But I think a lot of modern gamers, for visibility's sake, they just crank brightness all the way up, turn off literally every single post-processing effect ever, and then are like, why does the game look washed out?
That's me. That's me, to be honest. I'm like, I
Yeah,
can't see anything.
yeah.
Turn off all these effects, and then you're kind of losing it a little bit. Yeah, fair
Why
enough.
does the game look flat after setting
I'm not-
everything to low?
If I'm not getting 357 FPS, then it's getting turned off. Like it's as simple as
Yeah.
that.
If the game doesn't look like a potato because it's running on low graphics mode,
Yeah.
Gives me a
If the
graphic
guy running in the
edge.
distance looks like
Dude,
a figurine, then
competitive
I'm doing
gaming
it right.
and its consequences have been a disaster because it's just like everyone's like, I need to get the frame edge so that I could get the kill and keep my KDR up, and I'm like, dude, just put the fries in the bag, dude. Just
fries in the bag.
yeah, no, I mean that's the best way I can describe it. I'm using the younger Gen Z slang, but like, bro, please just play the game, play the objective, please. Don't go for frags. Stop it.
I think there's you mentioning that like Halo 3, just like the default like stance of the Spartans, they have this. It probably wasn't intentional, let's be honest, because Halo 3 has some pretty odd looking animations.
They do, for sure.
Which leads me to think maybe it wasn't so intentional. But Halo 3 Spartans, like their default stance is weirdly just like chill,
Yeah.
and kind of relaxed, which lets things seem a little bit just like everyone's just hanging out.
Yeah,
Which,
that's a better vibe, dude. It's great.
for machinima purposes, if you're trying to create a narrative around a multiplayer match, it makes things pretty damn entertaining.
Well, I will say the animations are basically identical between Halo 2 and Halo 3. And so, like, the way the characters,
Sort of,
like,
yeah.
the weapon lowering and stuff is almost identical, with the exception of, like, the new weapons and stuff, of course. But, like, the general animation engine, as far as I can tell, from Halo 2 to Halo 3, look very, very, very similar.
Might be the weird gorilla arms that the Halo 3 Spartans have.
Oh
They do.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
right. You're
And the
completely right.
insane thigh gap.
They do. Evan. Well, that's another thing. If you look at it though, is like the thigh gap is like it's pretty insane. But I don't know why my brain just says that's fine. But when I see it in Halo Infinite, they're doing the power stance where their legs are both like they've locked their knees and their legs are going outward in like a 45-degree angle. And I'm just like, that does not look comfortable to stand in for any amount of time whatsoever.
Looks
Well,
like they're always tense.
Well,
They're always stressed out about something.
Yeah.
because they're supposed to be like multiplayer Spartans, like you're running around like deathmatch style. Like you want them to look like on a modern 4K TV. You want the soldier to look like a soldier. Like you don't want people to be like waddling around. Like imagine like the newest Black Ops 6 or whatever, if everyone just looks like they're hanging out animation wise.
Like you don't want to look like a weird dude just standing there. Don't just stand there. Move around. Like Halo 3 in motion looks great, but like you're right. If people were like lowering their weapons, just standing around, they do just kind of look like they're just chilling. You know what I mean? They're just hanging around.
Even that like default, Halo 3 run, like it's nostalgic to me, but in Halo Infinite, it looks like a soldier with a weapon being trained at something moving towards an objective, where in Halo 3 it just looks like a guy which is fine for 2007, but I think people would make memes online if Halo went back to that,
Yeah,
everyone's hanging out.
Just give us 2 different animation sets. Give us like a relaxed animation set and an active animation set for Machinima.
That is a great idea, unironically.
Well, we actually have something like that we're messing with for Crash, where we can switch animation sets mid-game for characters.
Really?
So we can have characters holding their weapons in different ways and different like body language. It's subtle, but we used it a little bit in episode 8.
I'm thinking now, like, in the campaign, at least, like, the Marines, they have their, like, we're all just, like, patrolling, there's no enemies around, but then when enemies are around, they squat down into the combat stance. It would be interesting if Halo Studios, for the next Halo game, they did something like that. It's, like, such a who cares whatever, but for Machinima creators, you know?
It's a nice quality of life feature.
Yeah. I'm still the only person on planet Earth that is like, did anyone forget about campaign theater mode?
Oh no, dude, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. I miss it so much.
Like, I understand that, like, the producers and the pencil pushes, the number crunches, you know, they can probably see now, like, in real time who is actually making use of these features, and they've deemed it's not worth investing in. But I'm like, don't be a surprised Pikachu face when, like, content creation from the community goes down, when you stop investing in content creator tools like campaign theater mode and stuff.
The only reason we're able to do Crash is because they released the mod tools, because they just assume, who cares, just release it, and people do whatever they want with it. And then we do cool stuff with it, and then they're like, well, why are they doing it in the old games instead of the new games? It's like, why do you think? You gave us the tools to do cool stuff. Like, we could do more. Like, that's why people were surprised. Like, why aren't you doing it in Halo Infinite? I'm like, because I can't do what I can do in Halo 3 and Halo Infinite. Like, I just don't have the ability to do the same thing. Like, if I think the Halo 3 animation sets look a little janky, I can actually I can work with our animators at the show and actually make a brand new animation suite that we can switch to on the fly in-game, so the characters hold their weapons differently. Like, we hypothetically, we can even make it so the characters have different heights if we wanted to. And we've messed with that a little bit. And, like, what was one of the things we did was we moved as a test, but we moved, like, the Halo Reach Elite animations onto the Halo 3 Elite rig, and it looks really neat.
Moly.
Yeah, it's super cool. And we can do so much with it. And it's like, well, I don't know why people would be so surprised that we use Halo 3 when it's just like the sky's the limit with what you can do. Have you guys seen what Rejected Shotgun does with the Halo 3's engine? It's crazy. It's absolutely insane.
He's operating on, like, another level.
Yeah,
Rejected Shotgun.
Oh no, I was chatting with him just a little bit, and, like, dude, I don't know. The dude's work ethic is, like, insane. I don't know how he does it. Like, it's just insane to me. Because, like, I've worked with people and we've troubleshooted Halo 3's engine. Halo 3's engine's a tower of duct tape, dude. Like, as soon as you look under, like, you're like, man, this game runs so good, it's so iconic. And then when you look under the hood, you're like, how does any of this work? Like, this thing is, like, held together by, like, prayers and, like, duct tape, dude. Like, it's like, it's really remarkable that Bungie did as much work with it as they did. Because it's like, dude, working with this thing's kind of a pain in the butt sometimes.
Didn't Rejected Shotgun, he figured out how to get PBR material rendering into the Halo 4 version of the Halo engine.
Yeah, I heard about that.
For those of you who don't know, PBR materials, it's basically like, you know how older games, they had... it's a great beer. But it is also a modern rendering pipeline. So, you know how, like, old games, they kind of, like, a knight in armor really just looked like a paper mache knight.
Yeah.
Who was a little bit shiny. Like, it didn't really look like metal. It looked video gamey and stuff. Well, PBR materials are basically why modern games look the way they do. Like, light bounces off skin in the way that light probably should, you know, and you can see, like, rubber looks like rubber, metal looks like metal and stuff. And Halo 4 did not have that as a 360 era Halo game. And this guy figured out how to mod modern rendering techniques into the Halo 4 engine. And so Halo 4, some of the stuff that he's posted, it looks like Halo Infinite graphically.
Yeah, I saw some of that. It looks great. I was like, this is Halo 4? Like, you forget the graphical because it's just the shift in art style for Halo 4. You forget how much of a leap Halo 4 like graphically was between Reach and 4. You know what I mean? Because it just looks so different. Your brain doesn't fully register like how much work went into improving the engine and the lighting in Halo 4. It looks great.
It's crazy they managed to get it to work as well as it did on the 360 as well, with like all 250 megabytes of RAM or whatever it had.
Dude, no kidding.
If you're a big Halo fan, you can see how they got it to work, because there was a lot lost in the translation from Reach to Halo 4. Stuff that irks me a little bit.
The close detailing on a lot of the models and stuff is nowhere near as good as it was on Reach. That's for certain.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that.
The grunt backpacks exploding. They can't do that in Halo 4. The explosion effects, they look noticeably worse. Stuff despawns constantly. There's no motion blur anymore. They had completely removed that.
You're mentioning these things and it's making it click in my head. You're like, oh my god, you're right. I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't even think about that. You're right. The backpacks don't explode and there isn't any motion blur. Wow.
Yeah, I'm currently studying like how Halo did its motion blur, which is like kind of interesting because it's not actually motion blur. Bungie just faked it using like directional blur in real time, basically, if you've ever like done editing and stuff. It was like pretty complicated. I'm still trying to wrap my head around how they did it, but for Halo 4, they just like threw it in the trash and got rid of it because I guess it was too expensive and they needed quite literally every ounce of power they could get.
Man.
Yeah. It makes you wonder though, like if Halo 4 had been a launch title for the Xbox One and had just like another year or so of development time, how much better would the game have actually looked and whatnot? Because I think it's one of those games where it's like, out of all the Halo games, Halo 4 has the most what-if scenarios in my brain, and I reckon if it had just a little bit more time, it probably would have looked considerably better.
Maybe it would have launched with a weapon-lowered while walking animation.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, man. That's an oversight for the Machinima. Yeah, you know what? Halo Studios, if you want to do a favor for the Halo community, don't do that again.
Yeah.
To their credit, they haven't.
That's fair.
I mean, but to then remove that credit for both Halo 5 and Halo Infinite, they had to patch in weapon lowering many, many months after the game had already launched. But then to add the credit back, they did introduce the Machinima mode to Halo 5 and then went on to add it to Halo Infinite. And the Machinima mode is genuinely great as a content creator. It essentially lets you detach the camera from the Spartans in real time. You don't need to worry about a theater mode recording. You can lower your weapon, do what you got to do there. You can swap between camera control and Spartan control.
We actually figured out, we basically have a Machinima mode in Halo 3 now working. It's a little janky, but that's what we use in Halo and Crash. We have like a detachable real-time camera thing that we can do.
Yeah, and can you like dial in the speed of the camera and stuff?
Yes, we can technically, if I'm using a detached camera, the problem is when you have to move a character while moving the camera at the same time. We haven't really figured out a good way to work around that. But the Halo 3 tools, you're able to change the zoom speed of the camera by using the mouse wheel. So I can make it like almost imperceptibly slow, or so fast it'd go through the entire map in half a second. And so like that's a nice little thing that we have. Not to mention using keyboard controls on the theater menu. Actually, you can do some stuff movements you can't really easily do on a controller, which are pretty nice.
Yeah.
And so those are pretty nice. Although Crash is very static camera by design, so we don't end up using those super often.
Do you can you like script it so that the camera will obey a certain list of commands?
Absolutely.
Like almost like how Joe Staten mentioned for the Halo 1 cinematics, that he would essentially have to like take control of a character and then control them to do something, and the game is recording his inputs. and then he'd be done recording, and it would play back those inputs and have Master Chief do the same thing over and over again. And then he'd take control of the camera, do the same thing for the camera, and like that's kind of like how he got the cutscenes all together.
Yeah, so that's I should tell you a lot. So they removed that functionality from the engine for Halo 3, and then they put it back for Halo 4. So
come on, man.
so no, we can't do that in Halo 3, and that is like one of our white whales of like, that is one of the things you have no idea how much easier filming Crash would have been if we could do that. However, we can script and program FOV movements, a ton of stuff, but we have to animate the camera itself. But we can do Dutch angles, we can do crazy stuff. It's just figuring out how to do that stuff in real time is very, very, very difficult and very janky. But I will say, if we have shots planned out ahead of time, we can do almost anything we want with the camera, as long as we animate it by hand, like in Blender.
Okay.
So we can do crazy stuff. It just requires a lot more planning, basically. But we can do a lot of super crazy stuff just in engine, in shot, with controller stuff. Like, it's fun. We have an intention to release these tools way down. We're like adding stuff to it all the time.
My God.
So we have the intention right now to release these tools probably sometime after season 1 ends. But we're gonna have to do some work to patch it up, make it presentable and usable, because it's really kind of unintuitive right now. And that's not Athena's fault. It's just there's a lot of things to juggle with this menu in the system, because it has its own UI elements and stuff, and it's weird. We're moving into having like our own custom build of Halo 3 at this point. Like, we've changed so much, like universal scripts and stuff, and it's crazy. Like I don't know. I won't go too super detail about it, but like, it's super, super fun, and we want to remove all the Crash-related stuff because there might be some spoilers in there. That's why we can't really release the tools right now, because it's all connected.
Okay.
And not to mention, it would just be, I don't know, it'd be a real pain in the butt when we're adding new stuff all the time, where if we released it now, we'd be releasing a really janky, broken version of it. But once Season 1 wraps up, we would probably polish it, patch it, remove all the proprietary material for Crash out of it, and then maybe release it with a video guide about how to make certain things work. Because you have to know a little bit about Halo's engine to get certain things working. But
That
if
is going to
you're
open
willing,
the floodgates.
if you're willing to learn those things for Machinima, like it'd be super, super cool and super handy.
That's
I can picture a lot of, like, in terms of a Machinima renaissance. Like, I think you're probably going to get a lot of interest for that. People who will be really interested in wanting to use those particular tools to make their own stuff. Which
I've had some people DM me say that they'll pay me for it, and I'm like, I can't in conscience give, like, I can't, like, that legally I can't, but like, on top of that, I'm like, I'm not going to give these tools out until we're ready to release them. We'll make a public thing about that when we do.
yeah,
you can't, in good conscience, accept people's money.
Not for that. If people want to donate, go to the Patreon, Boomerang Sanity Fund. Plug. You can help support the show. No, but I don't know. I just don't want to sell people mods for Halo 3. Like, that just feels weird. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I don't know if I could. I don't know if I'd feel good about that. I'm like, that's a little weird. Especially because it's not like I'm the one who's sitting down doing the modding for the most part. It's all like Goal Athena. So I mean, I don't know. It's when you're part of a collaborative project like that, it's like the money part of it is just weird, because it's 100% like a passion project for all of us right now. There is money involved, but it's like, you know, if the money dries up, we're like, well, we're just gonna keep working on it because we like working on it. It's fun, but like, as soon as you start getting into that realm, you have to be more careful about it and more thoughtful.
I was just interested to know, like, on a similar subject, if you had a sort of unlimited budget, like no tech limitations, what kind of story or project would you love to make?
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like Crash right now, what we're doing with it is like so much in line with what we want to be doing. Like, I don't think there's anything that we want to do with Crash that we're not already technically able to do, which is a great place to be in. Like, you're like, all right, it takes time, but we have the road's kind of basically paved ahead of us for what we need to do and what we can do with it. That would probably more so fit into what we want to do after Crash, which we're going to still kind of work on some Crash content after the saga's over, probably, like PSAs, stuff like that. Maybe, if we can think of a good enough story to continue or to work on Crash past the first 3 seasons, we will. But I'd have to be really convinced that it's like a really interesting story. Otherwise, I'm just gonna let it lie. But other than that, if I had like unlimited funding and do anything, I mean, we have some actual ideas for future shows. I won't get too much detail about that, so I apologize. But that would probably be where we'd want to put that, just because animation is time consuming, and I want to make sure we can pay animators as much as we can with balancing everything out. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess for Halo 3 specifically and Crash, I wish we could get the control tools that you were talking about earlier, about being able to like record a character's movement and then replay it over and over again. That's like a white whale built function that we wish we could have. Upgrading Halo 3's lighting engine so that the shadow resolution was much better would be nice too.
So that's an engine thing. Just
it's an engine
like
limitation. It's not really like a money thing. It's like a built-in engine limitation, and we'd have to get somebody who's like well acquainted with the structure of the engine, who built it, to come in to change any of that, and that would be like, hey, if you know anybody, if anybody's listening who knows Halo 3's engine, who worked on it, and who knows how to like speak that ancient arcane language, then hit me up, because we could use that. But
reach out to your contacts, Gaben. Reach out to your contacts. Do it for us.
Gabe, we know you're listening. We know you're a fan of Halo 3 Machinima, so please do us a solid.
I'm just picturing Gaben with like a beer and his like feet up on his desk, just like watching an episode of Crash or something, just like nodding along to the jokes.
He's on his
stuff.
yacht in the middle of like Seattle, and he's like just watching.
He's got a Halo shirt on.
Dude, that'd be funny. If I met Gabe Newell and he was wearing a Halo shirt, that might be one of the most surreal moments of my entire life. I'd be like, well, what's happening here?
Oh my god, you know what? Is that why Halo 3, but not ODST, just Halo 3, for some reason on the Master Chief Collection, shadow quality can only go up to, like, original, I think it's called? Like, it has no enhanced option on the MCC.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's why. Because, like...
But on ODST, it does have an enhanced option.
You know what? I might double check on that, because ODST is not... huge. There's some changes between 3 and ODST. I'll look into that. That's a good point, because if there's some... Okay. You've given me a thought to think about. I'll have to double check on that.
Okay. It's a mystery that's been in my mind since the release of Halo 3 on PC. For some reason, that shadow setting, it only goes up to original.
I wouldn't be surprised. I know that Athena's worked on it, and I like messaged Athena. I was like, yeah, I just wish we could get, my wish list would be that we could upgrade Halo 3's lighting a little bit. And she was like, yeah, tell me about it. Like, oh my gosh, because apparently she'd messed around with it for a long time trying to get it better, and it just didn't take.
Doesn't work.
I don't know the details about what she worked on and how she did it, but like, I have to. Thanks for the heads up on that. I'll check out what ODST does and see if we can look into it.
What do you guys record your episodes at? Like, what's the in-game frame rate?
The in-game frame rate, I usually record the video at 60 frames 4K, and then we render it out at 30 frames 4K.
Like, that's what the game is running at?
The game,
60 FPS?
Yeah, 60 FPS, 4K.
Okay, because I was curious if you guys, like Halo 3's bloom system, its light bloom system, it's bugged on the MCC.
I'll have to double check how it is on the dev tools.
In a way that like people probably don't care about. It goes faster, the lighting transitions. Like when you step out into the light and things get really white, and then they kind of like, your eyes adjust and stuff. On the MCC, at 60 FPS, it does it. The transitions happen a little bit too fast. And then if you unlock the frame rate, they look really odd.
I'll keep
compared to Halo 3 on the 360 running at just, 30 FPS.
That's okay, man. You're full of all. I'm just have to chat with you more about like all these little idiosyncrasies that I just didn't know about, because that's like that's a good. I can't think of a single like shot that we've used that would be like super relevant for it, but that's good. That's good to know, because I imagine we might get to a shot later on and like, why does this look like shit all of a sudden? Like, why isn't this working?
Explosions, jackal shields, energy shields in general, like a lot of those like emissive properties or visual effects, they trigger the HDR bloom system to kind of like darken the image and stuff. I've had a lot of shots in my Evolution series ruined by that, so I've become very intimately familiar with when Halo 3 decides to darken the image or brighten things up.
Interesting. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Goodness, that might be very useful though, because we actually use night maps too.
Boy.
And I'm sure you can imagine that as soon as you start having night maps and stuff like that, like night high ground, where the lights just look really like blisteringly bright.
Yeah, if you start firing your weapons and stuff on a night map, like your screen is gonna be getting very bright and then going very dark only to even out. And it's gonna be bouncing between that constantly with each gunshot, and it sounds cool, me describing it, but visually it looks like something's wrong with the footage.
Interesting. Okay. I'll have to keep that in mind.
I think we wanted to ask you a lot about Crash, but it sounds like we just kind of like went down a trip down memory lane. Just
dude,
Halo 3 period.
Fine by me, dude. I don't mind.
It's more like Memory Avenue, to be honest. It was quite a thorough journey.
Do you have any like lightning round questions? I can try to answer as quick as I possibly can.
All right. So I know that Rooster Teeth have done this previously, but would you ever consider a live-action Crash short, even just as a parody?
We actually have thought of doing some stuff, like doing some funny stuff with live action Crash stuff. Nothing serious, I will say. Well, okay, maybe not nothing serious, but we've thought about doing some of the Far Side file, the like side content world building. We've thought about doing some of that in live action, but it hasn't really gotten past the like early discussion phase.
And what's the weirdest fan comment or theory that you've seen?
Weirdest fan comment, man. That does not. I have way too many to talk about. Weirdest fan theory. I don't know what the weirdest fan theory is. I almost don't like. I know a few that are weird, but I kind of like them, so I don't want to call them out as being weird. Do you know what I mean? But I also don't want to
could potentially like impact the course of the series, mate.
Yeah, right. Like, maybe, I don't know. Gosh, I feel lame for not being able to answer that one very well. But like, it's like itching at my subconscious. You know what I mean? Like, it's just scratching there. I'm like, okay, I know there is a few theories that I was like, that's wacky. I think some people were time travel stuff, and they think that the name being From the Top for the first episode is a reference to that.
Okay.
Which I guess I'm gonna have to dispel that idea. But like, it's the first episode's called From the Top because it was my second attempt at doing the first episode, and then it's also refers to the characters seeing a view from the top at the very end. Little double meaning there, but that was fun. Where they're like, "Oh, they're gonna go back in time. There's weird time travel stuff." And from the episode's called From the Top because there's gonna be a loop. And I was like, "That's fun. That's not like a bad one. That's just a fun one."
And I suppose I think a big one would be advice to aspiring creators. Like, what would you tell someone in starting their own Machinima series today, aside from don't use Halo Infinite?
No, if you want to use Halo Infinite, use Halo Infinite. It's just I couldn't be me. Y'all stay safe. I know some Halo Infinite Machinima creators that I really enjoy, and I love
Halo Box Studios.
Halo Box, good
guy.
I hung out with him in Seattle. Great guy. His all of them were super super fun. Shout out if they're listening. That pizza place was way too expensive. Anyway, when you are making a machinima, you're already kind of by nature cutting corners and not shooting with like real, like fully animated stuff in Blender, and you're not shooting stuff in live action. So making something in a machinima is naturally, no shade, but very naturally a way of cutting corners. So using the energy that you save by filming in a machinima, don't be flagrant with it. Instead, put all of that energy that you saved into script writing and into like cinematography and editing, because those are the things that you're going, and performances, because those are the things that are really going to be the hooks that grab people, right? You know what I mean? Like, if you just have a machinima and it's like, oh, it's a machinima, but if you have a machinima that's well written, or like one that's well edited and well paced and has good voice acting, that goes a long way. And so, and I've seen people, I won't name names because I don't want to throw shade or anything like that, but it's not so much a problem now. A lot of machinima creators now actually put a lot more effort into it than they used to. But if you go back to like the old days, a lot of people would just make machinima and they're like, well, you know, I just cut some corners with the script writing and the jokes and the performances. And I'm like, dude, don't do that. Like, because it's like the only, like, once it's a machinima, it's like, it's kind of like if you I always jokingly say making machinima is like playing with dolls. You know what I mean? Like, you're already playing with dolls, so people have to work a little harder to suspend their disbelief, and it's easier for people to suspend their disbelief if you have a really tight script and good acting. Do you know what I mean? So really invest your time into scripting, writing, understand character voices, make what you want to make above all. Don't make it for anybody else other than yourself, really, at the end of the day, because that's the thing you need to focus on doing the most, to be perfectly honest with you. But yeah, no, put your energy into script writing, make a tight script, funny, if you're going for comedy. I think that's usually cinematography and scripting are usually the two, and to some degree acting are the areas that machinima tend to fall short when I watch. I don't watch a lot of machinima nowadays, if I'm being honest, because I don't have time. But like when I do watch them, those are like the things that I notice that make me go, am I going to really continue to watch this? It's like, well, how's the script? If the script's not that good, I'm like, eh. But then if the acting's not that good, I'm like, eh. And then on top of that, if everything else is just a little subpar, then I'm like, probably not going to keep watching this. But if you get those hooks in, those can take you a long way. And you just got to constantly be working on improving. That's my best advice, at least for machinima.
No, it's great advice. It's awesome.
Brilliant advice.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Lightning round.
What do you think is for like beginner machinima creators? What Halo 3 map do you think has the most storytelling potential?
Ooh,
that's good.
Oh man, that's hard to answer because one of the reasons we're shooting it in Halo 3 and the setting of the show takes place actually broadly in the canonical locations where those maps take place, being around Kenya and like Savo and stuff like that, was just because I saw that, right? I was like, hey, all these maps kind of being in a similar location, there's some storytelling potential there. Oh gosh, that's really hard because people are really good at being creative with what you're using the maps for. Like you got the Avalanche guys using the Avalanche map, which is really cool. I really like what they're doing with that. Gosh, that's a great question. That's a real thinker. I think the Pit is a map that if you lean into it being a training facility would be a pretty fun place to have a lot of comedy or storytelling built around that. You know what I mean? Like base your storytelling a bit more on the location than instead of just waving your hand and being, this location is somewhere else. Just pretend it's somewhere else. Instead, you just lean into it a little bit. You know what I mean? Have the story take place. Like my first thought would be if you made a story set in the Pit, okay, we'll have it be different maybe like different teams or training in the same location, and you see an unfolding story happening between the drama that happens between these teams as they're trying to do stuff. You know, that's just like my first impulsive thought. You know what I mean? Like incorporate the map a little bit more into the storytelling instead of just using it being like, oh, we want a snowy map. Well, let's use Snowbound because it's snowy. And it's like, well, then if you don't have a way to explain why there's purple bases in the middle of nowhere with turrets around it, then it's going to be a little less immersive. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I assumed that you went with high ground because of the amount of just props to work with for the first episode of Crash.
Yeah, there's a lot of props for the first episode of Crash. I think high ground was just the idea that we had way back when I was originally making the idea, and I just like that map. And I think it being very asymmetrical as a base in the middle of nowhere just lends itself to that sort of red versus blue fucking around, standing around energy. Because it looks like a place that you wouldn't want to be stationed, but you just have to stand there. And you're like, well, this might be the most boring place to be posted. Because it's not even a full canyon, you know? It's not just two bases in the middle of a box canyon. It's one base in the middle of half a canyon.
And the base has a giant hole in the side of it.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's... I don't know. I particularly enjoy that, but yeah, I guess people should lean into the using the map as part of like the storytelling in a way, because a lot of creators will just be like, "This is a city, just pretend it's a city," and my brain says, "This is not a city. You're in the middle of Foundry. I know what this is. Like you're in the middle of a warehouse. That's not a building. That's a giant crate."
I can hear the fan above you.
I can hear the fan above you. I can't suspend my disbelief that hard. I guess we get it easy because now we can actually use custom maps and campaign maps for Crash, which is a huge boon. And then we can also have like nighttime and sunset and rainy maps and things like that in different weather conditions. So we get a lot more mileage out of one map than we used to. But if you do not have access, that's another thing. If you really want to get into doing Machinima and MCC, make use of custom maps from the workshop. just make sure you get in touch with the people who made them if you can. I imagine 90% of people will be fine with it, but like, just cross your T's and dot your I's about that. Because
there are some really good custom maps.
There's some awesome custom maps. I mean, that's how we met. That's how I met Athena, who does the maps for us now, because she had made a nighttime standoff that looked awesome.
Yeah, it's a really great, like, I think that the Halo modding and like custom map community, there's just so many like awesome, knowledgeable people in there that you get in touch with, and
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's just like bottomless well of knowledge in the best way possible.
There is the Halo modding community confuses and frightens me. Because it's just like, I feel like I'm going into like a wizard's college, and I'm like, this is arcane arts beyond my knowledge, and you guys are just doing the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Welcome to Hogwarts, where we make custom Halo maps.
I remember seeing those old, those old Halo 360 modded videos where somebody be like on high ground with like, they made a racetrack for a mongoose out of the gates.
Oh,
that's like a real thing.
I know what you're talking about.
You just see people, and they just keep spawning bipeds with no weapons. And I remember seeing people mod their 360. It was like the equivalent of seeing somebody like, "What if you get banned? It's like doing drugs, dude. That's not cool. You can't be modding Halo 3." But now I'm like, inject it straight into our veins. We're just going crazy with it. Like they've released the tools out for everybody to use. Who cares? I hope that was a satisfactory answer to that question.
It's a freaking amazing answer. What's a feature of the Halo 3 engine that pleasantly surprised you and actually you put to work in an episode? Like something that was just like, oh my god, the Halo 3 engine can do this. We got to put it in an episode.
Being able to lock the Spartans so that way that they their heads turn but their bodies won't is something that we've made a lot of use of. And if people who are a bit more familiar with the engine will notice that episode 7 and onwards makes use of that, where characters will be facing one direction, but they will look over their shoulder, like without turning, which is something you can't do in normal gameplay. And that was a happy accident because we were just messing with actor bipeds to spawn them in and use them instead of having to have multiple players playing at the same map. And so that was just a happy accident that we just stumbled upon, and then we just decided to make use of it, and I think it makes the characters way more expressive.
They don't have to physically face.
Yeah, they don't have to, like... It makes characters' body
Keaton
language
Batman turn.
much more nuanced.
Michael Keaton Batman.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. They have to turn like Batman from, like, 1989. But other than that, I'm sure I can think of more stuff. Because there's just been so much mod stuff that we've done behind the scenes that we haven't talked about or shown off, but, like... tons of stuff that have been super fun.
Sorry, I've got another question.
No, take your time.
When you reach a certain milestone with Crash, would you consider doing a standard definition DVD release? Like throwback Red versus Blue physical DVD release style.
Rooster Teeth had
Crash.
Yeah, Rooster Teeth had a specific deal worked out with Microsoft and Bungie at the time for that. So
Gotcha.
I would have to get in touch with good old Halo Studios and Microsoft to get the go-ahead on that, which would be it's impossible to know where they're going to be with the Halo franchise by then. But hypothetically, I'd love to. That'd be badass. We've talked about sitting down and recording commentaries for episodes with the cast, and I know they are all really down for that. We even want to record table readings for the new scripts so that we can release later on. But that's just hard because we're all over the country, so it's hard to like get everybody's schedules synced up.
That answered the questions I had.
Yeah.
Let's go. We did it. The lightning round was a massive success. I dare say.
Congratulations, you win.
What do I win?
You answered everything correctly.
Yeah. In your face, Dad. Thanks for having me on, guys. This was actually super fun.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. This was freaking awesome. We got to have you on again.
Yeah, no, just, you know what? Hit me up.
Where can people find Crash, or you specifically?
I think you can look up... I usually just tell people to look up Crash Halo on YouTube, but my account is Blazing Boomerang, but it's just Boomerang, so it's B00MRANG. We have a series called Crash. You can just look up Crash Machinima or Crash Boomerang on YouTube, and you can find the episodes there. I'm also on Twitter, whatever it's called now. And you can also find it on Tumblr. We also have an Instagram account that I don't use very much, and we also have a subreddit. So... Also, you can go... what am I talking about? We have a website. You can go to crash.show, and there's a lot of links there, and you can find a lot more about the show there, and the cast and crew and stuff. And a merch store, which should be opening up pretty soon. We're doing a beta test with fans right now, and for the merch to see if it turns out okay, good enough for us to release the merch to the public. So if you want Crash merch, it's going to be a good time soon to pick some up. But for now, that's all we have, really.
Well, thank you for joining us, dude.
That's absolutely
very much.
my pleasure.